that was based. It was an emotional map.
Yeah.
And what aspects of this emotional map were present? I mean, my question is, what did you find out about the neighborhoods to put in the map?
Yeah, well, I mean, of course, I knew about how important, of course, the belonging and the cultural background of Cabo Verde over there is how important it was. But I didn't realize how important it was until I actually went there and talked to people. I mean, some of the kids we had could only speak Creole, for example. So, and I didn't realize it would have been that way. So it was, I think Rita also was surprised at some point. But yeah, so that seemed to me a little bit crazy not to include anything about that in the map, because that's such a substra, that's just not impossible not to talk about it. So I made it on a simple way, because I included basically the flag, the main flag, because it was just the colors that we could see everywhere. All the kids were wearing like football stuff about Cabo Verde. The colors were everywhere, so it seemed very obvious to me that I wanted to include that. And also, I took a lot of photos, and in the photos, what was really obvious to me were like the lines of like how can I explain to that? It's like a bit if you think about shadows, because I included them as shadows, but like just the line of like just the houses, and then the palm trees, and then all those gigantic electric towers that were right in the middle. I mean, that really struck me as visually how it looked. So I thought, yeah, it's cool to have a map. It's nice, but it would be nice also to include some like the very visual aspect of how it looks when you pay attention to the lines, and when you pay attention to the motifs, really, about like the sugar canes, the palm trees, the banana trees, about the houses, the lines of the houses, all those big electric towers. I mean, it was very, the lines there were very peculiar. I don't know how to explain that better, but the lines there were very peculiar, so I thought I would have to include them at some point. I also decided to include, since it was a map, I include the tronçon, which is still a very important part of it, although it's not going directly to Talude, but it plays a big role. And I included the plains. I decided also to include the plains, because who has been there, I mean, in a lot of places in Lisbon, but over there it's even more pregnant. It can only be not necessarily bothered, but like astonished by the plains over there, because they go very, very, very close. So, and I mean, I don't live far, not at all, but since I'm not maybe directly under the corridor where all the planes go and land, I mean, here where we are, for some reason, although it's like 5 minutes from there, we don't really get bothered by it. Thank God. But yeah, so it was I know that I used to take a lot of walks around the Trancon and always be very astonished about all the planes that go over there. But when you are in Talude, it's even more visible. So yeah, I wanted to include that, because to me, all those lines, all those towers, the noise of the towers, the vibration of them. I mean, it was just really, it's really struck me. So I know that I took a lot of photos, and on the photos I could really see the lines of like, yeah, of the houses, of the trees and everything. So I really wanted to include that. So at the end I decided to include them in, as kind of shadows under the flag, on the top of the flag. And yeah, use the white of the flag to put more. So it was to put more of details, but yeah, that was my own impressions. But yeah, what I wanted to do also was like to gather some more impressions from the people. That's why actually, I don't know if it was on the very first day, maybe it was a few days after, I don't remember exactly, but I did this exercise with the kids that were present that day of the map of Lynda Barry. I don't know if you ever heard it. She's a comic book author, an American one, and she makes these very interesting exercises about, it's mostly for adults, but it works very well for kids as well, about like how to find back your creativity, all this kind of stuff. And she had this very interesting exercise about like making people draw a path that they take every day and then draw the emotions that come with it, like for example, from like your home to your workplace, or your work or your home place to your mom place. Like really you can choose whatever, but like it should be something that you used to see every day when you were a kid, or that you see every day if you are a kid. And it came out very interesting stuff also, like a bit linked to the kind of stories that the kids used to tell me, like the little girls I met on the first day. But it was very normal. I mean, normal for who lives in Talude. It's like very normal stuff. But like, oh, I remember one day we passed through this tree that is in this courtyard, and there was a goat on top of the tree. Over there, this man has a lot of dogs, and this dog is nice, and this dog is less nice, and they made some super cool drawings of dogs. So I included that on the map, or like they draw the cats. Some of them drew like some cats so well, or some dogs, and I was like, I have to put those cats and dogs on the map because it's just so fun. So yeah, it's for me, that's how I made the emotional part, like my own emotions, the one that I saw when I arrived, and I saw all those things, and the emotions that I could hear people talk about, like how fun it was to see that goat in a tree. It was like